I want to thank my good friend George. He's been part of my journey too. And I've been sitting in the audience all day and looking at these bare trees and thinking that maybe we could use a happy, colorful little birdhouse to dress up the stage here. Preparing for this talk was a very scary journey through boxes of family photos of bad fashion, really, really bad hair, and I can't believe I saved pictures of old boyfriends. I don't know what I was thinking. To give you some context, the next two slides will very quickly share with you the homes where I grew up. This was our home in Cordova, where I went to elementary school. This was our home in Anchorage, where I went to middle and high school. And I loved all my homes, and you could tell, not because they were such beautiful places, but I loved them because they were always full of my mom's family. So there was always laughter and good food and great stories, and that's really where my story begins today. We all want to live a life that matters. We all hope to discover what inspires purpose in us. The story I'm telling you today is my own, and I've never told it before. It's an emotional journey for me and very personal, and these slides are intentionally raw because it's the only way I can tell this story. So I hope you'll bear with me as I get through the hard part of this story. I do hope that my story will inspire you to throw yourself into something that speaks of your own purpose. My journey begins at home, looking at life through my mom's eyes. She's of Aleut descent, born in the village of Ninilchik, Alaska, one of 12 children born to Alexandra Kvasnikoff and Charles Joe Cooper. She was from the second largest family in the village. Can you imagine? There was a larger family than 12 children. They grew up in a one-bedroom home with a large attic where the kids slept, with boys on one side and girls on the other. Like her mom, she grew up speaking Russian first, and did not learn to speak English until she went to school. So today, when she gets together with her one remaining brother and one remaining sister, they immediately begin to speak in Russian again, and I see their eyes twinkle, and I see them laugh, and I just know they're telling great stories. And of course, my dad thinks they're always talking about him. My grandmother was small in stature, but very tough. When my grandfather was away fishing, she was the hunter. She had her own shotgun. She shot ptarmigan and, yes, even porcupine, so there was always food on the table. But she was also a very smart woman. My grandfather brought home a propane-powered washing machine, and she said, "I'm so scared of that machine. It's noisy, it's smelly." So guess who ended up doing the laundry for a family with 12 children? It was my grandfather. So when my grandfather wasn't away fishing, he was in charge of the community garden that provided food for the entire village throughout the winter. He was also in charge of Sunday services when the Russian Orthodox Church priest was away, because he was the only one in the village who could speak and read both English and Russian. So he was the only one in the village that could interpret and read the scriptures from the Bible. From this very simple but hard life, my grandparents built a legacy of family sharing and strength. The village was a very culturally diverse place with lots of resources. There were many languages spoken there. You probably haven't heard that about a village before. But there were people from across the world who lived in this small village. They were from Finland, they were from Poland, from Russia, from Denmark, mixed in with people of Aleut and Dena'ina descent. sorry, I've lost my place a bit. I'm trying to face the emotional part of the story. I hope you'll forgive me. From this small place, with all the languages that were spoken in this village, let me grab my notes for a second. I apologize. This is a scary story for me. Like many villages, the teachers in the school were missionaries who insisted that they speak English in the school. But at recess, the kids fell back to their home languages. And my mom tells me that at recess, they all spoke their own languages, but somehow they all understood one another. Perhaps because the village was off the road system then and away from many larger communities, they didn't experience prejudice because everybody mattered. The sharing of resources was natural and vital to them. People would hunt, fish, and gather and share with those who didn't or couldn't. The subsistence lifestyle was a strong community partnership. Everyone had value. Everyone worked together, and everybody mattered. But the village had no high school. So my mom boarded out to Anchorage with another family, miles away from family, friends, and all things familiar to her. So can you imagine the first time she went to the store and the sign on the door read, "No natives, no dogs." It was life-changing for her. I was 13 the first time my mom asked me if she looked native. It took me many years through my ego-driven teenagers years, my it's all about me young adult years, to really understand my mom's story. She spent her entire life trying to fit in. And I spent my life wondering how I could bring the values of her village life and her home to my life and my home. So my journey took me to Cook Inlet Housing, and I knew I had a place for that dream. I dreamed of creating a community in my hometown where people would have value and people would matter. I had a vision, and I had a way to make that dream happen. So internally at Cook Inlet Housing, the culture mirrors the things that my mom taught me. Our staff meetings are called Chai Peet, which means tea party in my mom's village. She told me, if you want to bring people together, just give them food. I think it's a pretty simple statement. So now we have potlatches with our Chai Peet. Our leadership structure consists of 3 leadership councils. So while we enjoy traditional corporate titles that are recognizable to our investors, we know we have to work together through an executive leadership council, a chief council, and a senior leadership council. This leadership council utilizes our individual strengths to build a stronger whole. And it's through this process that we're able to bring some of our work to you. They know their work really matters. So Strawberry Village Cottages was our first development. And my goal was we would be able to replicate some of the physical things that I remember from my mom's village. The picture on the bottom is actually a painting that my Uncle Nick painted, this one, from memory. That's his vision of the village when he was growing up, and the photograph at the top is the way it looks today. So, we planned Strawberry Village with the idea that it would be a catalyst for new thinking in our town. In addition to providing safe and affordable homes to 60 families, it would be a new idea. But the plan was too different. and it wasn't standard like in all the other Anchorage neighborhoods that were being built. So what I will tell you is it takes a lot of courage and a lot of hard work to bring a new idea to life. We hit the front page of the Sunday paper above the fold. Terms like birdhouses, quirky, color clash, strawberry jam. There were less friendly terms used to describe the work that we were doing. But a few months after we finished our development, we got a call from a couple who drove by Strawberry Village every day on their way home from work. They called to confess that they just told each other they'd grown to love Strawberry Village cottages. And yes, they even loved the colors. And this year, a really big win, we got a call from a community council member who said, "Why aren't you building across the street instead of the standard development that's all beige and fourplexes? Why aren't you building that?" And yes, guess what? The houses in that subdivision across the street are beginning to color up too. So this is Strawberry Village Cottages. 60 condos without common walls on a 5-acre parcel. There's an internal road that winds through that subdivision, that neighborhood, that is intended to be the river that winds through it. The homes all face each other in a helter-skelter way. They create places for people to gather and kids to play. And did you notice the colors? I hope you did. They are representative of what I know of village life. It's colorful, it's vibrant, and it certainly doesn't speak to what is a typical urban paint palette. And of course, the people that live there are from many cultures. They come from everywhere. They choose to live at Strawberry Village. They value their homes, they value their neighbors, and they value their neighborhood. So it is working. So I'm very proud to tell you that at the age of 81, my mom will soon be moving into one of our elder housing developments at Clutna Estates, located within our Centennial Village complex off of Muldoon. She will soon enjoy a home that demonstrates the same robust life that she enjoyed in Anilchik, where she can join people of many cultures and live a life that is full of sharing. So I challenge you to dig deep, to find your purpose, to be brave, to exercise your courage. Throw yourself into something that speaks of your own purpose. I promise, though this is emotional, it will be absolutely worth the journey. Spasiba.